Welcome to Brilliance on the Spectrum with your host, Robin Williams. Today's guests are John Paizis and Steve Niel from the Performing Arts Studio West.
Welcome to Brilliance on the Spectrum, gentlemen. It is so exciting to have you both. So let's just get right into it. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Well, good afternoon or morning or whenever this is being heard. My name is John Paizis. I'm the founder and director of Performing Arts Studio West in the city of Inglewood, California, and we are a performing arts organization that works with individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities. And this year we're having our 25th anniversary, and so we're very excited to be here with Robin.
Congratulations!
Isn't that great?
25 years.
25 big ones. All righty. And we have Mr. Steve.
I think I met you maybe 8 years ago.
I think so, originally.
Wow.
So.
I'm so proud.
Oh, we are too. Thank you, Robin.
And then introduce our friend.
All right, this is I'm going to let him introduce himself. How about that?
Please do.
All right. Hi, I'm Steve Niel, and I'm a producer, project development, and on-set coach at Performing Arts Studio West, going on 15 years.
Oh, that's
15.
Great. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming. So, John, I have to say, when I met you, you told me the story of how you started. I think you said something like, I borrowed $5,000 or got $5,000 in a credit card.
I was actually a small grant from West Side Regional Center in Culver City.
Okay.
All right.
So go ahead and tell us the reason.
Right. So this is 1998. The agency, I had been working with the population for 17 years, and I was a large behavior management agency. They also had a residential component. It was horrifyingly uncreative. And that was part of the impetus for doing something different. Once that agency closed down, I'm just going, gosh, there's got to be something that is just gives people more and feeds them more and is an opportunity for them to discover themselves and find out what it is that really makes them tick and really turns them on. So I had this idea of being a former rock musician and singer and actor and dancer since the time I was about 15 years old. I said, okay, I know two things pretty darn well, and that is the entertainment industry and working with people with disabilities. So I put together a proposal and went to one of the funding agencies, West Side Regional Center, and I said, listen, I got this idea for putting people in a program that they really are turned on about wanting to be in. And this would be for people who are interested in investigating the entertainment industry, either acting, music, or dance. And they said, well, we don't have anything like that. So got a small grant, $5,000. I bought a little consumer camera, bought a little teeny television, bought a little keyboard, bought some speakers and stuff, and started off with 5 people in a storefront space in Inglewood. And 25 years later, we've served hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of individuals. We currently work with about 80 performers with disabilities. We have a staff of 15, and all our staff are amazing people from the entertainment industry, and they're all experts in their specific field. I mean, Steve is an amazing performer and project coordinator. We have technical people, we have choreographers, we have other acting teachers, music teachers who are musicians, writers, composers, arrangers, and it's just been a wild ride, and something that we are very, very proud of. So, long answer to a short question. But that's the answer.
I want all the details.
That is the answer.
That's beautiful. Well, congratulations on the 25-year anniversary.
Thanks.
I think that's great. So why don't we get Steve a chance? Hi, hon. Hi. Yeah. So why don't you tell us what you do at Performing Arts Studio West exactly?
Wow. Okay. So I am, like John said, one of 15. My main responsibilities are production coordinating. If we do a shoot, I handle everything. And not a credit to me, every to their team thing. So we're state funded, so we use what we have, which is our own abilities. So I take care of scheduling, booking, writing out the shot list with my production partner, take care of all the sets that we use, equipment, props. If we can't rent them or get them donated, we build them ourselves. I oversee making sure everything runs like a smooth machine, and whatever John wants, John gets, not because he's a pushy person, but he deserves it. So my job is to figure out how to get him and his vision, whatever that may be, whether it be a live production, whether it be a video shoot, whether it be a movie, that happens. And
It sounds like you're a
that's what
right
it is. That's
arm
my main.
or right hand.
I'm a right arm, I'm a foot, and whatever it needs to be to make it happen. And I also go on set with the guys when they have any kind of shooting project, as well as
Why
John.
don't you give us an example of one of the shoots that you did with one of the most kind of like challenging props or something? Set the stage.
Challenging
for an
props.
in-house,
You said that you make like if you can't get it or donate it, you build it.
Oh,
I want to hear that.
You know what that is, Steve, right?
Are you talking about the turret?
I am talking about, yeah, go for it.
All right, so we're working on a new project, which is, it's a digital, I guess, collaboration with Celebrity Art Book. And we needed to build something that looked like our person was in like World War II in the cockpit of a B-52 bomber. So I duplicated and remade the Memphis Belle machine gun turret that sits behind the pilot, fully movable. So when you're looking at the video that's shot in black and white, it actually looks like he's in this machine that looks real. But we build everything. So if our
that is so cool. Well, I definitely want to see that.
Well, it is gorgeous. And I mean, and Steve was also responsible on that specific project for designing an entire communications bunker. He went to a prop house and got all this vintage World War II radar equipment and props and everything. And he made a little teeny miniature set to work it all out. And we got an old American flag with 48 stars on it. It was up on the back wall, and maps and all sorts of stuff, and vintage uniforms. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous piece.
Oh, that is so exciting. Okay, now next question for you boys. So somebody calls you up and they have an adult or a child that is interested, says, oh, I want to be a director. I want to be a filmmaker. I want to be an actor. Now, what is the process for a parent or a caregiver that is, trying to help someone when they find out about you guys? Go.
Okay, well, we since we are funded by the regional center system, and I think we currently work with 5 or 6 different regional centers.
Why don't you tell us what regional centers you work with? That
West Side Regional Center, South Central Los Angeles Regional Center, Harbor Regional Center, North Los Angeles County Regional Center, Inland Regional Center, Regional Center of Orange County, and Lanterman Regional Center.
Perfect, thank you.
So we go all the way up from the North Valley all the way down to Orange County. We have participants from all those different areas of the greater Los Angeles area. So I'll have a parent contact me, or a parent does contact me and say, hey, I saw about you guys, or I heard about you guys. And I said, okay, well, are you, or is your son or daughter or family member, affiliated with one of the regional centers? That being the case, services are paid for. Families don't have to come out of pocket for anything. They contact that regional center service coordinator. That service coordinator will send me a referral packet, and I read through that, make sure there aren't any red flags, no major behavioral issues or historical problems with attendance or acting out or anything like that. I review that, then I either set up an in-person interview or something on Zoom, as we're doing today, to get a feel for what the person's, what does the person expect out of a program like this? What do they want? What are their goals? And we want to make sure that, people have realistic goals, because, somebody's like, oh, I want to be a rapper, I want to be a rap star, or I want to be a movie star. And we say, we can take you as far as your talent will take you, but we can't guarantee anything. It says acting is kind of a shitty business. Show business it's kind of a shitty business. Right. So that is the general process, and we don't take everybody. Talent isn't a major thing that we have to look for. What we really want to see is commitment and the desire to stick with things and then, play nice with everybody else.
Right. So Steve, why don't you go ahead and tell me what are all the different types of things that they're offering, like that you're helping out with? I know that there's directing and editing, like there must be, like, what is the list of things that you guys actually offer, the array of offerings?
It's kind of just depending upon what they're really into. I mean, like the main focus is acting, music, and dance, and there's classes that they can take. They have to take all of them basically. So if you're not, if you're a person that doesn't have a lot of energy, you're not very motivated. Our job is to motivate them. Our job is to help them become a better version of themselves by empowering them and giving them chances to do things that they wouldn't normally be able to do or be tasked with, whether it's sitting still for a picture. That's why John came up with the book idea. Some of our participants that are highly, autistic and completely verbal and mobile all the time, we were able to, through this exercise, have them sit for 20 minutes, which is unheard of, and take pictures. And the way that they felt afterwards and how empowered they felt, it was very emotional because, at the end of the day, we love them all. We love all of our clients, but at the end of the day, we want to help push them. So it's not this big pampering poor little babies. These are adults and they have dreams and wishes. So we treat them as such. So it's a push. Music, they can learn to write music with Joe and Alexander. Dancing, Lindsay teaches full-on choreographed exercises. If you check out, our website or our YouTube channel, PASW TV, you'll see some of the performances that we've done. It's not just a bunch of guys that you would think, and I hate to say it, but people do think that our guys just kind of stand there. No, these are routines. They learn them, and they're focused and they're professional. Case in point, real quick, took 6 guys to be on set of a movie this last week. Okay, 6 of our guys. With ranging from highly functional to a little bit less functional, and there was other people there from other facilities that had disabilities that were not part of our community at our school. Well, our guys, director, producers, everybody came up to us afterwards and said how professional, how prepared they were, how ready, and how willing they were to put the work in. Not that other people don't have that ability. We just train them to, when they go, we have the confidence to say, you're ready to go. Tell them what you need as an actor and get what you want from them.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So John, let me ask you, in 25 years, what is your very favorite story of your students and clients? Like, I want to know. I know there's many.
Yeah.
So
How
if you
clean
need
do
a
I have
second
to keep
think,
this?
I want to know, like,
or
you can talk about a couple of different ones, but let's hear some of the stories that come out of there, because I remember when you and I had our meeting that time, you had talked to me about a couple of things that you were proud of and that you were excited about that kept you getting up and going back to the job every day.
Oh my goodness. Well, not only there's a couple of things. I don't even know if I can frame them as stories, but just the fact of what we have been able to offer to, our performers, to be able to be professional actors. We had a gentleman, Luke Zimmerman, that was on a show called The Secret Life of the American Teenagers. He was a series regular for 5 years on the show.
That's
and
amazing.
Then another one of our participants, Michelle Marks, was a recurring character for 4 years on the same series. And the fact that, and Steve and I were the coaches on this thing. So how many hundreds of episodes and thousands of hours did we spend over at Warner Brothers Ranch, working with these guys? Because Luke could be working; he was working every week,
literally.
And
that's fabulous.
The fact that we went from, in this and any situation such as what Steve was explaining before, when we first get on set and directors are nervous and producers are nervous and writers are nervous and other actors are nervous because they just don't know. They haven't had the experience of.
They don't know what to expect.
They don't know what to expect. And we're just saying, they're actors, guys. They're actors and they're human beings. And what you want, we will be able to get that person to deliver. And don't be afraid to talk to them like you talk to any other actor. Again, you don't have to baby these guys.
That's right.
So extremely proud of that fact. Extremely proud that we have been able to produce shows over the years, because we do a lot of in-house production. I mean, we've written and produced 4 original musicals, and fully staged, fully lit, fully choreographed. And the
Sure.
goal for me has always been is that we want to produce a show that when somebody walks out of that theater, they say, yeah, that was a great show.
Right.
Not, hey, that was a great show for people with disabilities.
No,
Right?
I get you.
We
That it's a
don't-
great show, period.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest nightmare in the beginning is I just didn't want to be that day program that has, you know, people with disabilities rocking back and forth and singing some familiar song that
Right.
you know, looks like it's, you know, amateur night in Dixie or something like that. I mean, we really want to make people laugh, we want to make people cry, we want to motivate them. And in those large productions, it's always a blended cast of, you know, performers with disabilities and performers without disabilities, and it raises the bar for our guys.
Hold on,
It
I'm so
opens
sorry
up
about
the
that.
eyes. It opens up. Oh, did we?
Yeah, so we're fine. Just give me 1 sec. Sorry about
Okay.
that. My
If you need me to roll
my phone
back.
is being difficult. It's not listening to me. Okay, I apologize. Go
Okay,
ahead.
not a problem at all. You know, we always have a blended cast of performers with and without disabilities because it raises the bar for our guys and it opens up the eyes of the, you know, professionals that are working with us and gives everyone a sense of, well, you know how theater is, you know how the business is. It's like family. When you're working on a production that long and that hard, you know, for those months that you're working on this thing, it's a family that you build. So
Yeah, day in and day out, you're like living with them practically. You're
Yeah.
eating with them. You're working
Right.
with them. You're like practicing and rehearsing, and you get very at close quarters a lot of times. So you do have a sense of family. Yeah, on the few sets that I've worked on, I've got that. I was fortunate to get to do a day on Space Command, and I was going to this class or not this this thing called The Table that Mark Siegfried does.
okay.
He's the one that has Space Command. Anyway, he has this group that's been going on for decades called The Table. They meet at Marie Collander's, and it's anybody that wants to be in the business that would like to make contacts, kind of a networking thing. And it was pretty incredible. Like when you are with someone day in and day out. So when I kind of came in, I was the odd man out and I couldn't understand what the problem was. And they're like, oh, just forgive us. We've all been like living in the same bunker for 6 months, you know?
Absolutely. That's a perfect example. And you know, some of the other things too is that, you know, we several years back, one of our performers had booked 2 movies back to back, a little time in between. But we have an actor with Down syndrome by the name of Isaac Leva, and he had the opportunity to work on a beautiful film called Any Day Now that was starring Alan Cumming, all right, who is a Tony Award winner.
Right.
The most fabulous experience on set. You know, a full feature film. They shot this thing in 22 days, and it was an amazing experience. And the feedback that we got from the entire cast. Garrett Dillahunt played the other lead, and for Alan to be able to say something, I learned something about acting from Isaac, and that was being so fully in the moment that his emotions, Isaac's emotions, were right up here and it's not even if the script called for it, it's just what was happening within the scene. If it reached an emotional point where Isaac broke into tears, that just happened. Or laughing spontaneously at something where you wouldn't expect someone to laugh at, but it was so natural. And Alan just said, he taught me something about acting during that shoot. And then one of the other, such a proud moment. There was a film, Wakefield, starring Bryan Cranston, and we got to work with Bryan, who had been a guest at Performing Arts Studio West in our guest speaker series.
Oh my God, I love him.
Years before. This was right after Malcolm in the Middle and before Breaking Bad.
That Malcolm in the Middle, that show was like that was my family.
It was brilliant.
I loved it.
That's funny. So, you know, so years later making that contact, and once again, you know, watching these people who are masters at what they do, and watching one of our performers right up there with them every second, connected and in the scene and in the reality. You know, if I can tell a story about this piece of the shoot, the film is about a New York executive. I think he's in the like money. He's a money guy.
Okay, sure, finances.
New York, yeah, finances. And he reaches to a point in his life where he's breaking. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore. He's married. He has two beautiful teenage daughters, and he disappears from society, leaves his home, but is hiding in the attic above his garage and spying on his wife and his family with binoculars. Film is called Wakefield. So he's hiding up in the attic, and there's a scene when he is discovered by two young people that live in a group home run by a doctor, which is right next door, right next door to the large, the big house that his family lives in. So the first scene that they have in the attic, and again, this is Isaac, the same young man that worked in Any Day Now. Mm-hmm. Robin Swycourt was the director, and she said, all I want you to do is I just want you to walk in and take a look at everything that's in the attic, because you've never been in this space before. And so I said, okay, and we walked Isaac through the blocking and the set, and he said, okay, well, there's a baby carriage over here, there's a sled over here, or there's a bicycle pump over here, and there's this over there. And I said, all I want you to do is just walk around and look at everything before you take your seat and find where you're supposed to be. So Isaac, and this is during a take, Isaac walks in, he's like looking around, he goes over to this, he goes over to the baby carriage, he's looking over here, he looks at this thing, and he sees a wedding dress hanging in plastic, and he puts his hand upon this thing and he starts to cry. And everybody in Video Village is just going, Jesus Christ, look at that. Because it was just this beautiful moment. It didn't need to be explained. It was it was a human emotion to something. Right. And who knows what it was? Who knows what it was? Oh my gosh. But Isaac was filled with moments like that. And, and then to have.
That's actually really cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, and it just was very natural for him, clearly.
Sure. It's a perfect example of when an actor gets out of his own way or gets out of her way and lets the reality happen. So, sure. It's those precious moments that we just absolutely, make us thrive.
Right. So Steve, do you have a moment that you experienced working with your students that just like is breathtaking for you, or?
Ooh, there's plenty of moments.
Well, share one of them.
One of them, we have a gentleman by the name of Eric Abrams, and he's mostly nonverbal. He'll say, little words and things here and there. And when I first got there, he hadn't said a word for a couple of weeks to me on stage, and he was just kind of standing there. And there was a moment that just, when I was having, eye contact, and he had a hard time focusing, of just really locking on with him and letting him know that it was safe and okay. And he started to communicate with me. I said, you're in a scene, and you're a builder, okay, buddy. You've got a hammer and there's some nails, and let's just say you're building something in your backyard. It could be anything you want because it's improvisation and nothing matters. It's all free game. All right. He grabbed his little hammer and he held it. The one thing we teach him, if you're going to hold a hammer, this is holding a hammer. This is not. There's no space for the hammer to fit. And he held that hammer. And he just started hammering, and Steve hammering Steve, with a nail. And I mean, it's okay to be emotional, but I'm trying to give him his emotional time. Sure. But I'm trying not to cry when this is happening. You know what I mean? But that's when I knew that not only did I enjoy my job, I was in love with it, to be able to get somebody. We all have different relationships with our guys. Some that they treat differently than others. Like some of our clients will treat us all differently. Some are more affectionate to others. Some that are highly autistic that don't like to be touched will come up and hug me and want that moment, grab the back of my head and bring me to their forehead. And it's just, we've all got connections with them, but sometimes you get that one thing that you're like, this does not happen for this person regularly. So those are
I have to tell you, I call that the light bulb moment. Yeah. Like when the light bulb goes off and they get what you're saying, and there's a connection, and your eyes meet, and you're communicating without words. You've already explained everything. Now it's time for them to put it into action. And I love the light bulb moment. That's beautiful. So, okay, now on to my next question. I always ask, I don't feel picked on. I always ask everybody this, not to put you guys on the spot, but a couple things. So I like to find out who people's heroes are. It's real important to me. So if you need a moment to think about it, but my stories I've written, Little Edwin's Triumph, and I have to tell you, John, by the way, Thank you so much for giving me that manuscript. I give everything away. And when someone asks me, oh, can I have one? Can I have one? I just give it all away.
Oh, your book.
Yeah, the Fairy Queen Flutterby novel. But someone really needed it, and hopefully we're working on the transitions, and hopefully it'll be coming out next year. But the fact of the matter is, I could not get a copy of it. I didn't save my own, and when the charity went bust because of COVID and all the stuff that happened, I started to kind of reach back out and go, okay, well, what did I start off doing? I've always been a writer. I should really pull that. I had a meeting with Carrie Bowers like a decade ago, and she's like, you need to rewrite your transitions, but it's a beautiful piece, Robin. And so when you gave that to me, my daughter-in-law actually is a ghostwriter. So she's helping me to get it together. But thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
But that being said, so moments of heroes. Who is your hero, John?
Oh, I got a
or
list.
Who do you want to be when you grow up, or
Well, first of all, my mom and dad were absolutely my heroes, because they were just so so supportive. I have an older brother and a younger brother, and we were all into the arts. And my older brother is a fabulous guitar player. He was an actor. Younger brother, musician. Still plays and records and produces. So they were always very, very supportive of that. And then, the people who opened my eyes to this world were my high school drama teacher, who just passed this last year. And, he was just an amazing, crazy, wonderful person. And then after that, the short stint that I did in college before I went to acting school in New York, it was my theater teacher and professors at Foothill College in Los Altos Hills, California. And this gentleman is now well into his 90s and still alive and kicking. But he saw a little something that he thought, had a little spark to it. And he, asked me at one point, after I had already been, when I was in high school, I was doing productions at the college already. And he goes, do you really want to do you want to do this seriously? And I said, yeah, hell, I want to do this seriously. And he goes, well, you know what? I'm friends with Sanford Meisner. And I went to the neighborhood playhouse when I was a young person. And he goes, I could get you in if you want, I'll just write your recommendation. And I said, yeah. And so he escorted myself and another young woman to New York in 1974, and I started going to acting school out there. But I think Sandy Meisner, I couldn't call him a hero because I was too afraid of him to call him a hero. And but just that, and everybody on my staff are heroes to me because of what they do and what they bring to work every day, and what collectively we as a team have been able to put together. And I would also call my wife very much of a hero.
Oh, I love that. You have a whole tribe of heroes.
Hey, it takes a village, doesn't it?
It does.
It really does. It really does. So now let's toss that to Steve.
Yeah, Steve, let's know. Okay, so Steve, who is your hero?
Wow. Okay. So growing up under the roof of a single mother under the roof with two boys, for her to be able to raise us the way that she did, to be, well-behaved, have manners, understand human nature, give everything that I am today is because of her and what she sacrificed. And my brother, who's a firefighter who retired out.
For sure. Firefighter.
Just to be a part of a nucleus that I just gotta say, growing up poor and not knowing that you're poor is a big deal.
I can completely relate. My mom, she turned, what did she call it? She goes, I'll turn shit into shinola. And people would come to our house and they thought we were rich, and we weren't rich at all, but she took old stuff people were throwing away, and if it had life left in it, she would bring it back out and she'd refinish it. And, our bedrooms were beautiful, and she had a vegetable garden, a fruit tree, so she could grow our food or whatever. But we lived rich, but we had no money. And so I completely relate. And yes, I think when parents can pull that off, it's pretty cool.
That's
especially
the
a single mom.
single mom hustling. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
anyway,
hustling.
the nucleus is what it is. So you never give up. Whatever you have is what you have. You don't worry about what you don't have. You make the best
Exactly.
of things. And the person that I looked up to growing up, there was two people in the entertainment industry, because I had to be the funny one for the family to lift us up when we were down.
So
So
you gave it levity.
100%, 100%. Robin Williams and Jonathan Winters, because that was my style of comedy growing up, was improvisation and just the humanitarian that Robin Williams was behind the scenes that people didn't see. He would go to Northern
Nanu,
California.
Nanu,
Exactly. He'd go to
Nanu,
Northern
Nanu. I
California,
am right there with you, kid.
come and hang out, you know. So
Well, I have to tell you the story when you said Robin Williams. So when I got married to my husband a few years ago, I'm not newlywed anymore, but we have 4 years now as married. I didn't take his name for the first couple of years. And he was really upset about that. He's like, so lady, you've been married 3 times and you've taken those guys' names, but like I'm your match and now you're true love. You finally met your match and you're not taking my name. Are you freaking kidding me? And I'm like, you do realize what my name will be. He goes, you love Robin Williams. Like he loved the Fairy Queen. Like what's wrong with that? Like I got a message through a person when I was at an event and Robin Williams was like, now that's some fairy. And I just never forget that I got to hear that through a third party, you know? Plus growing up, my mom would, when I was upset, she'd put on Mork and Mindy and my dad like would record them because I'd get in this way and they'd put it on. It would just bring me right out of that dark cave. You know, I loved Robin Williams. And so then finally, the long story short is a friend of mine was able to talk to Robin Williams' son at some point saying, you know, it's kind of funny. My friend, like her name will be Robin Williams. And she's so worried. She doesn't want to like insult the family or whatever. He's like, you know what my dad would tell the fairy? Capitalize on that, baby. So I am officially the new Robin Williams, you know, but I do leave my Robin A because I want to be respect. But, and I always tell people, yeah, my name's Robin Williams and I got a million of them. So that's so fun. Okay, guys. So now I would like you to leave my audience with your golden nugget. I always tell people shine brightly so others may have a lighted path. And what would you say, Steve? You got 30 seconds in the elevator and you want to make a good impression or give someone that nugget. What is it?
my nugget is be your true self. Always strive to be a better version of yourself. Never want to be the smartest person in the room. You always want to grow, love, and be kind to others because you don't know what everyone's going through every day. And that's it. And just enjoy and appreciate every day and look up and realize that that moon that's up there, it's not going to be there forever. So enjoy the time while you're here.
That is beautiful. Thank you for that. And you, John?
I was going to say, live every day like it's your last day. I mean, you know, it's like, if you can do something today, don't put it off till tomorrow, you know, because tomorrow is promised to no one. And, you know, take a look at the gifts that you've been given. And I think everybody's been given a gift, whether they recognize it yet or not, but everyone's been given a gift. And what do you do with that gift? You got to share it. You got to share it with people.
Right. I love that. And I totally believe that, you know, it is important to be in the moment. I had to get 3 years of neurofield. So since you've actually seen me, I've received 3 years of neurofield officially. And neurofield is an electromagnetic stimulation where they take magnets to the part of your brain that is on lockdown. So when they did the brain map and they did these pictures of my brain, they're like, oh, Robin's frontal lobe is in high beta. She's like a hamster on a wheel. It's really hard to focus. It was very hard to listen. I saw pictures when people spoke, kind of Temple Grandin that way. I see pictures, you know, but the fact of the matter is they toned it all down. It helped me to be able to focus. I became a more active listener. And it's such a beautiful thing when you can be in the moment. And I didn't have that. I just kind of raced right through it. You know, like you have a party and everyone's hanging out and having a good time. And I'm always cleaning. And then I'm all done cleaning. And then I go to sit down and everyone's leaving. And they're like, yeah, where were you? So now
you don't enjoy your own party.
Dishes will wait till tomorrow. I'm going to sit with my friends and enjoy the food and break bread and make conversation, but being in the moment. So thank you for expanding on that. Cause I think that is super important. And like Steve was saying, you know, you don't know what's going to be around tomorrow, but we know it's here right now. So thank you guys for sharing your wisdom and your stories. And I'm so proud to know y'all. I'm just so proud to know y'all.
Likewise.
And
Robin.
I think as my footprint gets bigger, I'm going to probably be sending some people your way.
Please do. Please do. Doors are open. We are
Awesome.
open for business.
Oh, you guys are great. Now, why don't you go ahead, John, real quick and tell us your website.
Mm-hmm. All right. We are at P as in Paul, or P as in performing, A as in arts, PAStudiowest.com. And then we are a Facebook page. All I got to do is look up Performing Arts Studio West. On YouTube, we have our own YouTube channel that has thousands and thousands of offerings at this point. Again, like Steve was talking about, past shows. We've got classes that are up there. We've got clips from, film and television that we've done. And that is PASWTV. So PASWTV is where to go.
And so from Brilliance on the Spectrum, Robin A. Williams signing off. Thanks, guys. Mwah.
Thanks, Robin. Thank you for having us. I had a good time. I don't know about you, Steve. You have a good time?
I had a really good time, yeah.